The alarm blared through the research station. Red lights flashed in every corridor. Dr. Samantha Wright looked up from her computer screen, her eyes wide with surprise. For 3 years, she had studied the strange energy readings from the edge of what humans called the dead zone. Now those readings were off the charts. "Commander Collins," she called over the communication system, "you need to see this right away." Jeffrey Collins arrived at the lab within minutes. He was a tall man with short gray hair and eyes that had seen too many space battles. As the leader of the human expedition force, he didn't take emergencies lightly. "What am I looking at, Doctor?" he asked, staring at the screen full of numbers and graphs. "The dead zone barrier is fluctuating," Dr. Wright said. She pushed her glasses up her nose. "I've never seen anything like it. These patterns suggest it might be artificial." Commander Collins frowned. For 300 years, humanity had expanded across the stars. They had settled on dozens of planets, built space stations, and developed technology beyond what their ancestors could imagine. Yet in all that time, they had never found other intelligent life. The dead zone had always been a mystery, a region of space where signals disappeared and ships never returned. "Are you saying someone built this barrier?" Collins asked. "I'm saying it's not natural," Dr. Wright replied, "and right now it's weaker than I've ever seen it." Collins made a quick decision. "Prepare a probe, let's see what's on the other side." The news spread quickly through the station. Many scientists and officers gathered in the main control room to watch the probe launch. Dr. Wright worked with her team to program it for maximum data collection. This was the scientific discovery of a lifetime. "Probe ready for launch," announced Chief Engineer Paul Bennett. He was young but brilliant, with hands that could fix anything. "Launch," ordered Collins. The small unmanned craft shot away from the station. Everyone watched on the main screen as it approached the edge of the dead zone. Previous probes had all gone silent at this point. This time would likely be no different. But it was. "We still have contact," shouted Dr. Wright. "The probe is transmitting." The room erupted in cheers, but the celebration was short-lived as data began flowing back to the station. Dr. Wright's face grew pale as she studied the readings. "Commander," she said, her voice shaking, "the dead zone isn't empty space at all. It's a quarantine field, and we're inside it." Collins leaned closer to her screen. "A quarantine? For what?" "For us," she replied. "For humans." The revelation stunned the room into silence. The data showed that the field surrounded all of human space, every planet, every station, every colony humanity had built. They had never been exploring free space. They had been trapped in a cosmic cage. Admiral Lori Martinez arrived at the B station 2 days later. Her deep space fleet was the pride of Earth's defense forces. She had brought 3 of her best ships, the Defiance, the Liberty, and her flagship, the Courage. "You're telling me some alien force has kept humanity trapped for our entire spacefaring history?" she asked during the emergency meeting. "The evidence is conclusive," Dr. Wright explained, showing the detailed scans. "The barrier technology is far beyond our understanding, but its purpose is clear. It keeps us in and keeps others out." "But why?" asked Collins. "We don't know," Dr. Wright admitted. "But the barrier is weakening. We might have a chance to break through." Admiral Martinez studied the tactical displays. "If we're going out there, we need to be prepared for anything. This could be first contact with alien life, or it could be walking into a trap." Collins stood up. "I volunteer to lead the mission. We'll take the Liberty. Small enough to be fast, large enough to defend itself if needed." The mission was approved by Earth's United Command. Within a week, the Liberty was ready. The crew was handpicked, the best scientists, engineers, and military personnel humanity had to offer. Dr. Wright joined as the science officer, her expertise on the barrier deemed essential. On the day of departure, Admiral Martinez met Collins in the docking bay. "Be careful out there, Jeff," she said. "If you find something hostile, don't play hero. Come back and we'll face it together." Collins nodded. "If there's someone out there who thought they needed to quarantine the human race, I intend to find out why." The Liberty departed with little fanfare. Only those with the highest security clearance knew its true mission. To the public, it was just another deep space exploration vessel. As they approached the barrier, Dr. Wright monitored the energy readings constantly. "The fluctuations are growing stronger," she reported. "If we're going to attempt a breach, this would be the time." Collins gave the order. "Full power to shields. Take us through." The ship lurched forward. Warning lights flashed across every console as they hit the barrier. The hull groaned under the strain. For a moment, it seemed like they would be pushed back like every ship before them. "Power failing," called Engineer Bennett from his station. "Shields at 30%. "Divert all non-essential systems to the engines," ordered Collins. "We push through or we don't go at all." The Liberty shuddered violently. Crew members held onto their stations as the ship threatened to tear itself apart. Then, suddenly, everything went quiet. The lights stabilized, the engines hummed normally. "We're through," Dr. Wright whispered, looking at her readings. "Commander, we did it!" Collins looked at the view screen, expecting to see empty space. Instead, he saw stars, more stars than he had ever seen before. And something else. Lights that moved in patterns. Ships, hundreds of them in the distance. A signal came through on all communication channels. A voice spoke in a language no human had ever heard before. Dr. Wright's translation program struggled to keep up, but eventually produced words everyone could understand. "Warning, containment breach detected. Quarantine species has escaped. Alert Galactic Council immediately." As the message repeated, Collins stared at the view screen in awe. Humanity had never been alone. They had been caged, and now they were free. "Send a message to Admiral Martinez," he ordered. "Tell her we've broken through and made contact. And tell her to prepare Earth for whatever comes next." In the distance, several of the lights changed course. They were coming toward the Liberty. "Looks like we're about to meet our jailers," Collins said. "Let's make a good first impression." "Doctor," Wright looked at her console as new data flooded in. "Commander, I'm detecting thousands of different signals out there. Different languages, different technologies. It's not just one alien species, it's an entire galactic community." Collins took a deep breath. "A community that decided to keep us in a cage. I think we deserve to know why." The approaching ships grew larger on the view screen. First contact was minutes away, and 300 years of human isolation was about to end. For better or worse, humanity had emerged from quarantine, and the galaxy would never be the same. Grand Counselor Zextor pounded his four-fingered hand against the smooth metal table. The emergency chamber of the Galactic Council had never been so loud. 50 representatives from the most powerful species in the galaxy shouted over each other. Fear filled the air. "Silence," roared Zextor. His blue skin darkened with anger. "We will address this crisis with order, not chaos." The room quieted. All eyes turned to Security Director Velanier as she stepped to the center platform. Her slender form seemed to glow under the lights. "The containment field around human space has been breached," she said. "Our sensors detected a human vessel crossing the barrier 6 hours ago. We have visuals." A large screen displayed the Liberty, floating in space. The human ship looked crude and simple compared to the elegant vessels of the Council races. "How did this happen?" asked a representative from the Norva Collective. "The quarantine field was designed to last for millennia." Velanier's expression remained calm, but her tail twitched with anxiety. "The field has been slowly degrading for the past century. Our maintenance teams were scheduled to reinforce it next year." "Next year isn't good enough," shouted another. "Counselor, the humans are loose now." Zextor raised his hand for silence. "Director Velanier, remind the Council why humans were quarantined in the first place." Velanier touched her data pad. Ancient images appeared on the screen. Early humans on their home planet. 50,000 years ago, our explorers discovered Earth. The humans were primitive but displayed unusual qualities. Unlike every other sentient species we had encountered, humans showed exceptional adaptability and unpredictable behavior patterns. Most concerning was their capacity for both extreme violence and extreme cooperation, often within the same individual. She changed the display to show graphs and charts. Our scientists predicted that if humans ever developed interstellar travel, they would either self-destruct or become a dominant force in the galaxy. The containment decision was made as a precaution until we could better understand them. Another counselor stood. And in 50,000 years we never decided to release them? The original research team recommended review every 10,000 years, Velanir admitted. The first review maintained quarantine. The second was never conducted due to bureaucratic oversight. Murmurs of disbelief filled the chamber. Zextor looked furious. So this species has been imprisoned because we forgot about them? He asked. Not exactly, Grand Counselor, said Velanir. Automated systems have monitored their development. Their technological progress has far exceeded projections. They have mastered nuclear energy, digital computing, and faster-than-light travel in just a few thousand years. What took most species 20,000 years, they achieved in 2. The room fell silent at this revelation. And now they're out, Zextor said quietly. What are our options? Military containment is ready, said Commander Draztek, stepping forward. The warrior's armor clinked as he moved. We can deploy the nearest fleet immediately. The humans have only one ship outside, the barrier. We can capture or destroy it. And if more follow? Asked a counselor. We can re-establish the quarantine field at a higher power, Draztek replied. If necessary, we can set up a permanent blockade around human space. While the council debated, Eric Daniels and Dr. Alan Garcia worked frantically aboard the Liberty. As the hastily appointed human ambassador, Daniels had no diplomatic experience but possessed a natural calm that Commander Collins valued. Dr. Garcia, the ship's xenolinguist, hunched over his computer station. Anything yet? Daniels asked. These alien signals are like nothing we've ever encountered, Garcia replied, rubbing his tired eyes. But there are patterns. I think, yes, I've isolated what must be their primary communication protocol. Collins joined them at the station. Can we talk to them? Not yet, said Garcia, but I'm picking up massive communication traffic. Something about our arrival has caused quite a stir. Dr. Wright entered the bridge with excitement on her face. Commander, I've been analyzing the sensor data. There are at least 20 different alien species represented in the nearby ships. This isn't just first contact. It's 20th contact, all at once. Collins nodded slowly. And none of them seem happy to see us. The alien vessels had formed a perimeter around the Liberty, keeping their distance but clearly watching every move. None had attempted communication yet. I've got it, Garcia suddenly shouted. I've cracked their basic language structure. The translation program is adapting now. We should be able to... A signal interrupted him. All screens on the bridge displayed the same message, now translated into rough English. Human vessel. You have illegally breached quarantine. Power down. Systems and prepare for boarding. Resistance will be met with force. Collins looked at Daniels. Looks like you're up, Ambassador. Daniels swallowed hard but stepped forward. Open a channel. Back in the council chambers, alarm klaxons sounded. What now? Demanded Zextor. The human ship is transmitting, said a technician. They've broken our encryption and translated our language. They're responding on all channels. Impossible, whispered Velanir. That should take years, not hours. The main screen activated, showing Eric Daniels standing on the bridge of the Liberty. This is Ambassador Eric Daniels representing Earth and all human colonies. We come in peace and seek dialogue with the Galactic Council. We have many questions about the quarantine field that has imprisoned our species for centuries. We request a diplomatic meeting according to whatever protocols your council observes. The chamber erupted in shocked whispers. Not only had humans escaped, but they had deciphered alien language systems in mere hours. Zextor stared at the screen. How did you learn our language so quickly? Daniels smiled slightly. We're good with patterns. It's a human trait. One counselor, Blix, who had remained silent until now, stepped forward. Unlike most council members, he seemed more curious than afraid. Grand Counselor, Blix said quietly, perhaps we should consider diplomatic options. If the humans wanted conflict, they wouldn't be asking for a meeting. Zextor frowned. Or they're buying time while more of their ships break through. Our sensors show no additional breaches, Velanir reported. After a tense moment, Zextor nodded. Very well. Tell the humans we will meet with their ambassador, but the 7th Fleet will continue deployment as a precaution. As the communication ended, Zextor turned to Blix. You seem unusually calm about this situation. I've studied the ancient records on humans, Blix replied. I believe we have fundamentally misunderstood them. This could be an opportunity, not a disaster. Or it could be the beginning of the end for galactic peace, countered Zextor. These humans were quarantined for a reason no living council member fully remembers, Blix pointed out. Perhaps it's time we learned the truth about humans, rather than fearing ancient myths. As the council prepared for first contact, dozens of warships moved silently through space, heading toward the breach point. The humans had escaped their cage, and the galaxy held its breath. Captain Lisa Morales stood on the bridge of the diplomatic vessel Hope. She had received urgent orders from Earth Command after Commander Collins's breakthrough. Now her ship floated at the meeting point, surrounded by alien vessels that looked like giant sea creatures made of metal. Any word from the council representatives? She asked her communications officer. Nothing yet, Captain, but we're picking up a lot of chatter between their ships. Lisa nodded, her face showing no worry even though her heart raced. After Collins' report, Earth had rushed to prepare for whatever might come. No one knew if these aliens would be friends or enemies. Across the galaxy, in a small private chamber, Counselor Blix carefully checked for listening devices. Finding none, he activated his secure communication system. The face of Captain Morales appeared on his screen. Captain, we don't have much time, Blix said quietly. I'm taking a great risk contacting you directly. Who are you? Lisa asked, suspicious. A member of the Galactic Council who believes the quarantine of humanity was a terrible mistake. Blix's 4 eyes blinked nervously. The official meeting will happen soon, but there are things you need to know first. Lisa leaned closer to the screen. I'm listening. The quarantine field wasn't built just to keep humans contained, Blix explained. It was designed to suppress certain abilities your species once possessed. What abilities? 50,000 years ago, when our explorers first found Earth, they discovered something that terrified them. Some humans showed signs of powerful, psionic abilities, telekinesis, telepathy, precognition, abilities that no other species had developed. Lisa's eyes widened. That's impossible. Humans don't have those powers. Not anymore, Blix said. The field was designed to dampen those abilities across generations. After thousands of years under the field's influence, the traits became dormant in your genetic code. On Earth, President Kelly Banks sat in the underground command center beneath the old city of Denver. Military officers and scientists surrounded her, providing updates on the situation. What's the status of our defenses? She asked General Keith Robinson. All orbital platforms are at full alert, he replied. The Deep Space Fleet is mobilizing, but most of our ships are still inside the quarantine zone. Only the Hope and Liberty are beyond the barrier. Chief Scientist Nathan Hayes approached with a tablet in his hand. Madam President, I have urgent findings you need to see. Hayes was a quiet man who rarely showed emotion, but now he looked truly shaken. He handed the tablet to President Banks. After studying the data from the quarantine field, we made a discovery, he said. The field hasn't just been containing us. It's been changing us at a genetic level. Banks frowned. Explain. The field emits a specific radiation that affects human DNA, Hayes continued. We believe it's been suppressing certain genetic traits for generations. Now that our ships are outside the field, those traits might begin to activate. What traits? Banks asked. Before Hayes could answer, an aide rushed in. Madam President, we've lost contact with the Hope. Back at the meeting point, Captain Morales' ship shuddered as weapon fire hit its shields. 3 alien vessels had opened fire without warning. Return fire, Lisa ordered. Target their weapon systems only. The Hope was newer and smaller than the Liberty, built for speed and diplomacy rather than combat. But like all Earth ships, it carried defensive weapons. The human vessel fired back, its targeting computers finding weak points in the alien shields. "Captain," called her tactical officer. "More enemy ships approaching." Lisa gripped her command chair. "Where's our promised escort from Counselor Blix?" As if in answer, 5 sleek vessels appeared from behind a small moon. They positioned themselves between the Hope and the attackers. A communication came through. "Captain Morales, this is Counselor Blix. These ships are under my command. We will escort you to a safe location where we can continue our discussion. The Council Hawks have forced my hand." On the main council station, Grand Counselor Zexitor slammed his fist on the console when he heard the news. "Blix has committed treason," he shouted. "He's helping the humans." Security Director Velanir looked troubled. "We never authorized an attack on the human ship. Who gave that order?" "I did," said Military Commander Draztek, stepping into the room. "The humans are too dangerous to negotiate with." The ancient warnings were clear. Zextor looked between them, his anger growing. "You exceeded your authority, Commander." "I protected the galaxy," Draztek replied without remorse. "The humans have already corrupted Counselor Blix. How many more will fall under their influence if we allow them to roam free?" Meanwhile, on the Liberty, Dr. Wright made an astonishing discovery. She rushed to Commander Collins's quarters, not bothering to announce herself. "Commander, I've analyzed the data from outside the quarantine field. The radiation levels here are completely different from what we're used to." Collins looked up from his reports. "Different how?" "Our bodies have adapted to the radiation inside the field over generations," Dr. Wright explained excitedly. "Now that we're outside, our cells are responding to the new environment. Some crew members are showing unusual brain activity." Collins frowned. "Is it dangerous?" "No," she said. "It's evolutionary. I think being outside the field is waking up dormant parts of our DNA." Before Collins could respond, his communication panel buzzed. It was Dr. Garcia. "Commander, we're picking up a transmission from the Hope. They're under attack." Collins rushed to the bridge, Dr. Wright following close behind. "Battle stations. Set course to the Hope's location, maximum speed." As the Liberty raced through space, Counselor Blix's ships managed to drive off the attackers. The Hope had taken damage but remained operational. Both human vessels rendezvoused at Blix's secret location, an abandoned research station in a nearby asteroid field. Captain Morales met Commander Collins in the docking bay. "It seems not everyone on the council wants to talk peace." "No," Collins agreed. "But thanks to Counselor Blix, we now know why they fear us so much." Inside the station, Blix showed the humans ancient records, videos and data from Earth's distant past. The footage showed early humans demonstrating abilities that seemed impossible, moving objects with their minds, sensing events before they happened, communicating without words. "Your ancestors had gifts that frightened the early council," Blix explained. "The quarantine was built out of fear, but I believe these abilities are your birthright. And now, after 50,000 years, you may reclaim them." Dr. Wright studied the genetic data with growing excitement. "This explains the changes I've been observing in our crew. Outside the suppression field, our natural evolution is reasserting itself." Commander Collins looked troubled. "If this is true, we're not just fighting for our freedom to travel the stars. We're fighting for our right to be what we were meant to be." Captain Morales nodded gravely. "And the Council will do everything possible to stop that from happening." Major Ryan Patel led his Special Forces team through the abandoned alien research station. His soldiers moved silently, weapons ready. They had been training for space combat for years, but never expected to use those skills against actual aliens. "All clear," reported Sergeant Amy Nelson through the comlink. "No life signs on this level." Ryan nodded. "Good work. Meet back at the central chamber." After the attack on the Hope, Commander Collins had ordered a complete security sweep of Counselor Blix's station. They couldn't risk another surprise. In the station's medical bay, Dr. Olivia Clark worked with Dr. Wright. They had set up equipment to study the changes happening in the human crew members. 20 volunteers lay on beds connected to monitoring devices. "Look at these readings," Dr. Clark said, pointing to a screen. "Brain activity is increasing in areas that were almost dormant before." Dr. Wright nodded excitedly. "The changes are happening faster than I expected." Lieutenant Kim reported she could sense emotions from other crew members this morning. "And Corporal Jackson claims he moved a coffee cup without touching it," added Dr. Clark. "I didn't believe him until he demonstrated." On the other side of the station, Commander Collins met with Captain Morales and Counselor Blix. The alien counselor looked nervous, his forearms constantly in motion. "The council fleet is mobilizing," Blix said. "Draztech has convinced many counselors that humans must be contained at any cost." "How much time do we have?" asked Collins. 2 days, maybe less," replied Blix. "Draztech commands our largest military force. He's bringing 300 ships to establish a blockade around your solar system." Morales frowned. "Earth isn't ready for that kind of fight." "It won't be a fight," Blix said grimly. "It will be a massacre. Your ships can't stand against Council technology." Collins stood up. "Then we need to find another way. Fighting isn't our only option." Far away near the edge of Earth's solar system, civilian freighter Captain William Foster noticed something strange on his sensors. His small cargo ship was returning from the outer colonies when his navigation system suddenly failed. "Computer, run diagnostics," he ordered. "Unknown energy field detected." The computer responded. "Navigation systems compromised." Will frowned. He was an experienced pilot who had flown this route many times. Nothing like this had ever happened before. He switched to manual controls and adjusted course toward Neptune to use its gravity for a slingshot maneuver back to Earth. As he approached the giant blue planet, his sensors detected an artificial structure on Triton, Neptune's largest moon. This was strange. No human colony existed there. Curiosity got the better of him. Will changed course and headed for Triton. As he got closer, he could see the structure clearly. A building of some kind, made from materials he didn't recognize. It looked ancient. "This is Freighter Sierra 9 to Earth Command," he transmitted. "I've found something on Triton you need to see." Back at the research station, Major Patel's team finished their security sweep. They gathered in the command center where Collins waited for their report. "The station is secure, sir," Ryan reported. "But we found something interesting in the lower levels. Some kind of training facility." "Training for what?" asked Collins. "Combat simulations," Ryan replied. "But the targets in the simulations are human. They've been studying how to fight us for thousands of years." Collins frowned. "They feared us that much?" "Sir," Ryan hesitated. "There's something else. My team has been experiencing changes since we left Earth space. Enhanced reflexes, improved coordination, even limited prediction abilities. It gave us an edge during training exercises." "The suppressed abilities are emerging," Collins said quietly. Ryan nodded. "And they're not just mental, sir, they're physical too. Whatever the quarantine field was holding back, it's making us stronger out here." In the council chambers, the emergency session continued. More representatives had arrived from distant systems, drawn by news of the human containment breach. "The reports are disturbing," said Valanier, addressing the full council. "Human ships are gathering at the breach point. More have crossed through the weakened barrier." This wasn't entirely true. Only 3 human ships had actually crossed the barrier, but Draztech had ordered her to exaggerate the threat. Grand Counselor Zextor looked troubled. "And where is Counselor Blix? He's been absent for 2 days." "Likely collaborating with the humans," Draztech said darkly. "He always had dangerous ideas about integration and cooperation." Zextor sighed heavily. "Is there no peaceful solution to this crisis?" "The ancient records are clear," insisted Draztech. "Humans cannot be allowed to develop their full potential. The consequences for the galaxy would be devastating." Back on Earth, President Banks received William Foster's transmission. She immediately ordered a science vessel to Triton to investigate the structure. "Could it be related to the quarantine field?" she asked Chief Scientist Hayes. "It's possible," he replied. If the aliens built the field, they might have left monitoring stations in our solar system. This could be one of them. 24 hours later, the science team reported back. What they found shocked everyone. It's not a monitoring station, the lead scientist explained via video link. It's a research facility, an ancient one. There are records here dating back 50,000 years, studies on early humans. And Madam President, the findings are incredible. Explain, Banks demanded. The aliens didn't quarantine us just because they thought we were dangerous, the scientist continued. They did it because we're different from every other species they've encountered. While other intelligent races evolved to specialize, humans evolved to adapt to almost any environment. And this made us a threat? Banks asked. It made us unpredictable, replied the scientist. According to these records, most alien species evolved along very specific paths. The Vorn are natural engineers, the Trill are born diplomats, the Zek excel at spatial mathematics. But humans can learn to do almost anything. We're generalists in a galaxy of specialists. At the research station, Dr. Clark made a breakthrough of her own. She rushed into the command center where Collins was planning defense strategies with Captain Morales. "Commander, I found something in the genetic data," she said, breathless with excitement. "The abilities we're seeing aren't random. They follow patterns based on each person's natural talents. People with strong empathy are developing telepathic abilities. Those with good spatial awareness are showing telekinetic potential." "What does that mean for us?" asked Collins. "It means these abilities aren't separate from who we are," Dr. Clark explained. "They're extensions of our natural human traits. The quarantine field didn't just suppress powers, it limited our human potential." Collins looked thoughtful. "So the Council didn't fear us because we were dangerous. They feared us because we could become anything," finished Dr. Clark. "In a galaxy where every species has its predetermined role, humans are the wild card." Dobo. Station's alarm suddenly blared. Lieutenant Kim's voice came over the comm system. "Commander, multiple ships just dropped out of faster-than-light travel. It's Drazatech's fleet. They've found us." Admiral Lori Martinez stood on the bridge of her flagship, the Courage. Behind her, a fleet of 50 human ships moved into defensive positions. It wasn't much compared to the 300 alien vessels approaching, but it was all Earth could send through the weakened barrier in time. "Status report," she ordered. "The Liberty and Hope are falling back to our position," her first officer replied. "Commander Collins reports they were able to evacuate the research station before Draztech's forces arrived." Lori nodded. It was a small victory. When Collins had sent the emergency signal, she had already been moving her fleet through the breach point. Now they faced an enemy with superior numbers and technology. "Open a channel to all ships," she said. "Human and alien frequencies." When the channel was ready, she spoke clearly and calmly. "This is Admiral Martinez of Earth United Command. We do not wish for conflict. We request dialogue with the Galactic Council to resolve the situation peacefully." For several long minutes, there was no response. Then a harsh voice answered. "This is Military Commander Draztech. Humans have no place in the greater galaxy. Return to your quarantine zone willingly, or we will force you back." Lori looked at her tactical display. The alien fleet was spreading out, trying to surround them. "We cannot accept continued imprisonment. Based on ancient fears, we ask for fair treatment as equals." "Equals?" Draztech laughed. "Your kind are dangerous primitives. You will obey or be destroyed." The communication ended. Lori turned to her crew. "Battle stations. Defensive formation Delta. We hold this position as long as possible." On the Liberty, Commander Collins watched. Dr. Wright and Dr. Garcia working frantically at a communication console. "How much longer?" he asked. "Almost there," Dr. Wright replied. "We're combining what we learned from the ancient research data with the communication frequencies Counselor Blix provided." Dr. Garcia nodded excitedly. "If this works, we can broadcast our message to every council member simultaneously. Draztech won't be able to block it." Collins looked out the viewport at the opposing fleets. "Let's hope it's enough." In the main council chamber, confusion reigned. Many representatives demanded answers from Grand Counselor Zextor about the military action. "Why weren't we consulted before attacking the humans?" asked one counselor. "This could start a war." Zextor looked uncomfortable. Commander Draztek acted on his own authority, claiming immediate security concerns. "Convenient," said a voice from the entrance. All heads turned to see Counselor Blix walking in, flanked by human diplomat Peter Rodriguez. "Very convenient for those who profit from conflict." Zextor stood up, shocked. "Blix, you dare bring a human into the sacred chamber?" "I bring the truth," Blix replied. "Diplomat Rodriguez comes with evidence you all need to see." Peter stepped forward, holding a data crystal. "My name is Peter Rodriguez, representing Earth and all human colonies. We have discovered the real reason for our quarantine, and we believe you have been misled." Before he could continue, alarms sounded. The chamber's main screen activated automatically. The faces of Dr. Wright and Commander Collins appeared, broadcasting to every screen in council space. "Members of the Galactic Council," Collins began. "I am Commander Jeffrey Collins of Earth. Our species has been imprisoned for thousands of years based on fear and misunderstanding." Dr. Wright continued. "We have found evidence at an abandoned research station on Triton that the original quarantine was partly motivated by resource interests, not just security concerns." The council chamber erupted in shocked murmurs. Back at the fleet standoff, the first shots were fired. An impatient alien captain launched weapons at a human scout ship. The human vessel took damage but didn't fire back. Admiral Martinez's voice came over all channels. "Hold your fire. Do not engage unless directly threatened." On Earth, President Banks watched the situation with growing concern. Reports flowed in from their ships. The alien fleet outnumbered them 6-1. If a full battle started, Earth's forces would be quickly overwhelmed. "What options do we have?" she asked her advisors. Chief Scientist Hayes pointed to data from the Triton facility. "We could reveal everything we found. Show the Council that the quarantine was based on corrupt motives." "Will that stop Drazatek's fleet?" Banks asked. "Not directly," Hayes admitted, "but it might divide the Council's support for military action." Banks nodded grimly. "Send everything to Collins, and prepare our planet for possible attack." In the Council chamber, Peter Rodriguez was finally allowed to speak. He connected his data crystal to the Council's systems. "These records show that early Council explorers found something valuable in human space," he explained. "Rare minerals that existed nowhere else in the galaxy. Rather than trade fairly with humans, certain Council members recommended quarantine as a way to claim these resources in the future." Images and ancient records filled the screens. The evidence was clear. While fear of human potential had been real, it had been exploited by those seeking profit. Grand Counselor Zextor looked stunned. "Is this verified?" "I have examined the data myself," Blix confirmed. "It is authentic. The quarantine that has stood for 50,000 years was built partly on greed, not just caution." At that moment, Dr. Wright's voice came through again on all channels. "Council members, Commander Drazatek has opened fire on our vessels. We are under attack." The Council erupted in chaos. Zextor tried to restore order. "This action was not authorized. Draztek has exceeded his authority." In space, the battle had begun. Human ships moved with surprising speed and coordination, avoiding the worst of the alien firepower. Major Patel's special forces, distributed among the fleet, used their emerging abilities to anticipate enemy movements. "They're trying to herd us back toward the quarantine zone," Admiral Martinez realized. "All ships, break formation. Don't let them push us back." On the Liberty, Dr. Wright watched in horror as the Courage took a direct hit. "We need to do something more," Commander Collins nodded grimly. "It's time for our final option." He opened a channel directly to Drazatek's flagship. "Commander, this is Jeffrey Collins. I challenge you to face me directly. One ship against one ship. Let's end this without further bloodshed." Draztek's harsh laugh came back. "You think your primitive vessel can match mine?" "I think you're afraid to find out," Collins replied calmly. There was a long pause. Then, "Challenge accepted. My flagship against yours." The rest of our fleets will stand down. In the council chamber, Zextor watched the events unfold with growing alarm. The evidence against the quarantine was damning. Now Draztek was engaging in personal combat, further destabilizing the situation. "This has gone too far," he said finally. He turned to Peter Rodriguez. "Humans have proven themselves more reasonable than many council members. I propose an immediate ceasefire and formal diplomatic relations." Peter nodded gratefully. "Earth accepts, and we ask that the quarantine field be permanently deactivated." "Agreed," said Zextor. He turned to the chamber guards. "Send the ceasefire order to all ships immediately. Override Draztek's command codes if necessary." 3 months later, Admiral Martinez stood in the Grand Hall of the Galactic Council. Behind her, Earth President Banks and Commander Collins watched as Grand Counselor Blix, newly elected after Zextor's resignation, addressed the assembly. "Today marks a historic moment," Blix announced. "The formal acceptance of humanity into the galactic community. The last sections of the quarantine field have been deactivated, allowing free travel between human space and the rest of the galaxy." Applause filled the chamber. Even former skeptics had come to appreciate the unique perspective humans brought to galactic problems. Already, human adaptability was helping solve challenges other species had struggled with for centuries. As the Yod ceremony concluded, Collins turned to Martinez. "Did you ever think we'd see this day? Humans finally free to explore the entire galaxy?" Martinez smiled. "It's just the beginning. Imagine what we'll discover out there, now that we can be everything we were meant to be."